If you don't have that perspective going into it, you're going to be discouraged and you're going to quit. Have the right perspective. You can do this, but it's a journey. Hi, my name's Devon. Today I own several multi-million-dollar companies. We started with $5,000 in a credit card. I don't know the easy way. I only know the hard way. Hey everyone, welcome to the Whiteboard Entrepreneur Podcast, where I give straightforward advice to fuel the entrepreneur in all of us. I'm Devon Dickinson, and today I want to talk to you about having the right perspective on your entrepreneurial journey, right? So whatever dream you're on, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're going for something big, you're trying to get that degree, or you're pursuing some great career, maybe you have a different dream, whatever your dream is, it's a journey, right? And I think you have to have perspective on the journey, because whenever we start a dream, you don't think about the journey, right? You don't think about like the difficulties and the stuff along the way. You think about the end goal, right? So when you think about running a marathon, you don't think about what mile 20 is going to feel, right? Like, right? You don't think about that. You think about getting your picture at the end and where you're going to post it and crossing the finish line and, then going out to celebrate. Like when you're like signing up for that marathon, that's not what that's what you're thinking about. You're not thinking about waking up at 5 a.m. on your only day off to go and run 3 miles or 3 hours, right? Like that's not what you're thinking about, right? And so what happens is we have these weird perspectives of the journey of the dream. And so right now I can tell you this because I'm in the middle of it, right? So I have this dream of starting this podcast, right? I have this dream of being able to put something out there so that other people who are pursuing their dream can reach their goals. And I want to inspire, and I also want to be transparent. I want to tell people, and I want to be vulnerable, and I want people to know like all the good and the bad. And I got super excited about this, and I called up my friends and said, hey, let's do this. And now here we are. We're getting close to the end of 2 years of officially doing this. So I don't even know how many, that's like 100 and some podcasts, because we've done one a week since the beginning. We've been ultra consistent. I feel like we're working hard. We're getting better every week. We're looking at our numbers. We're growing. And I'm going to tell you, as exciting as it is, it's been a lot of work. Like it's taken a lot. We do this consistently every week. What you don't see is we will actually work probably 2 or 3 hours on this every single week on the filming. And then after that, there's production, there's, distribution, there's editing, all of this work that goes into it. And listen, that also costs money. So I'm spending money to put this out there for you guys. I'm spending time to put this out here because I have this dream of what it's going to do for people. I have this dream that we're going to be reaching millions and millions and millions of people, and they're all going to be so inspired, and they're going to go and achieve their dreams, and they're going to send me thank you cards and emails at Christmas and all this stuff. And here we are. Like I said, it's at the end of 2 years, and we're sitting here earlier today doing our notes and looking at how many followers we're getting, because it's a way of tracking, right? And so we're now up to this. Listen, I'm going to give you the big number here. We're getting about 3.5 on Instagram a day, new followers. Yay! And listen, I'm excited about this, right? Like I'm not poking fun, but I am poking fun because this is the journey, right? Actually, listen, we're closer to 4, and that's just Instagram alone. Because hey, if you look at all of our different platforms, we're probably at like 8 a day, right? And so, anyways, we're laughing about this, but because we have perspective, right? Because we know that we're on this journey, and we also know why we're doing it, and so. As an entrepreneur, anyone right now, if you're pursuing your dream, maybe your dream is to get that degree, to finally have that degree, or to get your master's, or to get this promotion, or to get this technical training, or whatever your degree is. Maybe it is to become an entrepreneur. Whatever your dream is, it's a journey, right? And so maybe you're like right now trying to become a nurse, right? And you got 2 kids, and oh my gosh, you're having to study at 2 a.m. and you're going, this isn't what I dreamed about. This isn't what I pictured, right? But it's part of the journey. And that's where I'm at right now in this podcast, right? Now, I would tell you, if at the beginning of this 2 years ago, if I said, you're going to spend all this money, you're going to work this hard. You're going to give this much effort. And at the end of 2 years, you're going to be getting like 8 followers a day. I would have said, what? Really? I'm not sure I want this dream, right? I'm not sure it's worth it. But because I have perspective, I know that this is part of the journey. First off, I enjoy doing this. I love inspiring people, whether it's 20 people or 20 million people. I want to impact people's lives. And I know that in order to have 20 million people that you've impacted their life, you got to start with 20 people. And I have to give my absolute best to 20 people if you're going to give your absolute best to 20 million people. And frankly, I'm probably not good enough to be talking to 20 million people right now. I probably don't have enough quality stuff to say that people would even care about. But I know that this is part of the journey. And I would also tell you, I have perspective within the journey because we've looked at how everything's going, and it is a linear growth, right? Like we're growing linearly. And I said, you know what? Let's put this in perspective, right? So we started looking at the linear growth, and we started doing the math, and we started playing around with the numbers. And if we stay at this rate and the growth rate that we're on, 10 years from now, we could have over 12 million followers. Yay, that's exciting, right? So again, you're on that, you're like, you just got done throwing up on the marathon, right? Or even worse, right? Your nipples are bleeding. You're running this marathon. It's terrible. But you're on mile 6 and you go, you know what? Oh man, this is hard. But I can see I still have this vision for what the marathon, for the future. And in the meantime, I'm enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying the process. I've gone further than I ever have in my life. And so having that perspective when you're studying at 2 a.m. for that, you're just hoping to get a C in the class. That's part of the journey. Enjoy it. Have perspective. Realize that if you stay on this course, you are going to achieve your dream. Before we did this podcast, I looked up something real quick. And so don't quote me. I'm not some mountain climber. Don't go and pack your bags and think this is what, the Devon knows what he's talking about. But I looked it up on Google, and it says that if you want to climb Mount Everest, like that's pretty exciting, right? Like I'm going to climb Mount Everest. Do you know that it takes you 2 weeks just to get to the base camp of Mount Everest? Just to get there, just to get to the starting point of your summiting takes you 2 weeks. And then when you get there, you got to acclimate, right? And I don't even know how long. I think it's like a couple weeks of acclimation. And then after that, you have to hit 3 more camps as you summit. And that normally takes you another 2 to 3 weeks. And people think, oh, I just start climbing up that mountain, and next thing you know, I'm on the top of the summit. But everything is a journey. And whether you're climbing Mount Everest, or you're getting that nursing degree, or you're starting your company, or whatever dream it is that you have, realize that you're on the journey, right? Have perspective, have joy in the journey. And like I said, it's so important to have that perspective, because when I had started this podcast, I thought after 2 years, I'm going to have 12 million followers, I would be really discouraged right now. And that's why people quit. That's why people quit their entrepreneurial dreams, because after 2 years, they go, I've done this for 2 years. I've worked harder than I ever have in my entire life. And I'm now just breaking even. I've lost money the first 2 years, because that's what happened with me. Literally, it took me 2 years before I broke even. And if I didn't have the right perspective to realize that I was on this journey, I would have quit after 2 years. And guess what happened after about 2.5, 3 years? All of a sudden, I started to make money. And all of a sudden, things started to compound and go faster for us. And we had to have this growth. But having the right perspective is what got me through that. I'm telling you what, if you have this perspective, like I'm going to freaking be the fastest person to ever climb Mount Everest, and you get to base camp, and next thing you know, you have altitude sickness, and you don't think to yourself that that's what's going to happen, you're going to get discouraged and you're never going to go and you're never going to summit and you're never going to achieve your dreams. And that's what happens with all of us. If you go and you think, yeah, you know what, Devon, I like what you said. I want to be that nursing student. I want to go get my degree and become and achieve my dream. I want to go get my master's or whatever that is, but you don't have the perspective that it's going to mean that you're studying at 2 a.m. and you've had no sleep and you're hoping just to get a C- so you get the credits for it. If you don't have that perspective going into it, you're going to be discouraged and you're going to quit. Have the right perspective. You can do this, but it's a journey. And when you're in the journey, enjoy the journey, relish the journey, realize it is what it is. The journey is part of the challenge. It is part of the dream. The finish line is not the dream. When you sign up to climb Mount Everest, when you sign up to do a marathon, yes, as you picture in your head crossing that finish line. But the memories that you have of the bloody nipples at mile marker 6, and I'm speaking from experience here, if you can't tell, right? Throwing up at mile marker 20, looking for the outhouse at mile marker 22, right? Those are the memories that made the marathon special, right? The people that climb Mount Everest, I'm sure they remember and take that selfie, planting that flag on the top of the mountain, but they have memories, cherished memories from eating garbage food at base camp, throwing up because they have altitude sickness. It's all part of the journey, my friends. Listen, get this perspective inside of you. Enjoy the journey, have the right perspective, and I'll see you in 10 years when we have 12 million followers. I'm Devon, and this is the Whiteboard Entrepreneur Podcast.